Yeah, I just will start. I'm happy that you invited me to explain what we do at the 2,000 square meter field in Pankow and what is the concept of our project. I was a bit surprised that you think we are an urban farming gardening project, because actually we don't see ourselves as an urban gardening project. We are more an educational project working in the political lobbying for future farming. But of course, yeah, we are in the city of Berlin and we do farming and we do gardening. And especially since last year, we have a new project in the center of the city. It's a small neighborhood garden where we also have some raised beds and where we also do some workshops. And yeah, maybe that's more the urban gardening project we consider as a usual urban gardening project. Me, myself, I'm also an urban gardener. I have a small dacha here in Berlin with a small garden since 11 years. And I work in several projects with children, mainly working in school gardens, planting vegetables with mainly school children, but also adults, teachers. That's my background. And now I will come to our project. I hope the technique is working. I think it looks good. Just a short introduction to the 2,000 square meter project. It's a project of the Foundation on Future Farming. It's a foundation that is promoting seed variety or seed production for ecological farming. So it's quite a problem. I'm not sure if you are aware of this, that we don't have so many varieties anymore. We had maybe some 100 years ago. And especially for ecological farming, it's sometimes nearly impossible for certain cultures, for certain vegetable varieties to get ecological seeds, which are not hybrids, for example. So this is the aim of our foundation, and the 2,000 square meter project is one project of many of this foundation. The idea was born 2015 in Berlin. There was the World Agricultural Report. You can also find a website. It's the Global Agricultural Survey. And it addresses a lot of challenges the agriculture faces right now. And because these challenges are so big and complex and far away, the idea was born to bring it to the people, to make it more understandable, so you can touch it and maybe you can understand better and feel more responsible for it. And so in Berlin, we started here on our planet with 2,000 square meters, which is the arable land of the whole world. So we sum up all the arable land and divided it by the people on Earth. So it's about 1.5 billion hectares divided by 7.5 billion people. Now we are a bit more probably, but yeah, so this is the idea of the 2,000 square meters. This means everybody of us, so like me, Sergey, Kai, everybody has 2,000 square meters somewhere around the world. And on these 2,000 square meters of farmland, everything must grow that feeds us. This is grain, potatoes, fruit, vegetables, but also oil, sugar, and other food products. We also calculated how much can grow on 2,000 square meters to show that 2,000 square meters is really a huge area. It's much more than you need to feed yourself. For example, in Germany, you could plant potatoes and could harvest 8,500 kilograms in 1 year from 2,000 square meters. So if you would divide it by the days of the year, you would come up with more than 20 kilos potatoes only per day. So it's much more then you need to be at least not hungry. Some other examples are beans in France. You can harvest 2,500 kilograms. In Sweden, where you can maybe grow wheat not that well, but still you can harvest 1,100 kilograms of wheat to bake bread or produce spaghetti. So there is enough for everyone. And the aim of the Foundation on Future Farming is also to show that we don't need GMO food, we don't need genetically modified seeds to feed the world. It's not the reason that we don't produce too little food from the hectares. There are other reasons that people are still hungry. There are some other figures I want to show you later. Maybe you should also consider that we don't just have farmland to feed us. We also have the meadows and the grassland where you can put the cows or other animals to feed to get animal products like eggs and milk and cheese. There are also the forest we don't use for food production that much, but still you could get food from the forest. And of course, in the cities, you can do urban gardening or urban farming. So this adds up to the farmland we are considering in our project. And this is only the land masses. You still have the oceans, for example. So these are the numbers. So you have more than double of meadows and grassland to get food products. And you also have the forest and the cities and the oceans if we would not overfish. But still, more than 800 million people are still hungry worldwide. The number is rising again, unfortunately. One reason might be that we we don't feed ourselves from the 2,000 square meters, but also we have to feed most of the animals, or the animals that are not on grassland or in the forest. We feed we processed industrial food, and if this fodder comes from the arable land, we could only feed 2 pigs for 1 year, and then 2,000 square meters would be empty. I think this is an interesting figure as well. We don't need two pigs for 1 year per person. We could feed a whole family with 1 pig, but still with 2,000 square meters, you could feed much more people. So all the food that we need for the animals, if we want to eat meat, milk, eggs, we also have to consider if we look at our 2,000 square meters, if it doesn't come from meadows or pastures. Another thing we plant on our soil, on our arable land, farmland, is energy plants like rapeseed oil or sunflower oil, but also sugarcane is quite a big culture in our agricultural production. If we would plant the whole 2,000 square meters with rape seeds, we could travel about 3,500 kilometers with the car if we would make biofuel out of it. So this is also one thing we show at our 2,000 square meter, which I did not mention, but maybe I come to this a little later, I'm sorry. The most important thing I forgot to tell you, probably Kai knows as he invited me, but on our 2,000 square meter, we plant the main crops worldwide, the 40, the most important plants in the world that are more than 2 million hectares of farmland. So these are, for example, wheat is the biggest. The second biggest is rice and corn. And then we already have soybeans, but also sugarcane, sunflowers and gun oil and cotton, for example, we also have on our 2,000 square meter. So this is are the numbers for the biofuel. So it makes no sense to plant biofuel plants on our valuable farmland, because the energy efficiency is really weak, and we will never have enough biofuel plants to cover all our energy needs. The plants we have now for energy production, we could spare if we would only reduce the car uses oil, for example, in on average 7 liters per 100 kilometers. And if we would reduce this rate to 6 liters per 100 kilometers, we could get rid of all the energy plants we plant right now. So these areas would be free for food. So it makes no sense. We will never have enough farmland to have enough biofuel plants to meet our energy needs for the cars or even for electricity production. So as long as we don't use really the residues or things we don't have other uses for, it makes no sense to plant only plants for this use. The second point is, it was always said when it was propagated to plant energy plants on fields that it would be carbon dioxide neutral. Of course it is. If a plant grows, it takes up carbon dioxide and stores it in its biomass or in the soil. But you should not forget that there would be other plants grown if I would not plant sunflowers or rapeseed. You know what I mean? So I could plant wheat or rice instead, and it would be still carbon dioxide storage. So food loss is another important factor to consider if we think about why don't we have enough food for the people on Earth. So globally we waste up to 50%. Especially in industrialized countries, throw away a lot of food. Even animals we throw away, we feed them, we plant the crop to feed them, and then we raise them, we slaughter them, and then we throw them away. So this is an energy loss which is counting up to the reason that we don't have enough food for the people. In the southern countries, of course, they don't waste that much like we do. They have other reasons that food could get lost, especially on the fields. A lot of food get lost because of climate change or pests or drafts, or it gets lost on the way to the storage because the cooling is not sufficient, and in the storage rodents can harm the harvest, and there's a loss up to 30% still. And industrialized countries we just throw away because we have too much. Yeah, this is the picture for the loss. So again, there is enough for everyone. We could feed the world with the calories we produce right now. That's what we show on our field. We could feed up to 12 billion people with the calories we produce right now if we would not waste so much, if we would not plant it as a biofuel, and if we would not feed that many animals with the grains we have on our field. This is an average German or European kitchen. So in Europe and in Germany, we have up to 3,500 calories per day available for each person. So, and everybody of you knows that it's too much to have a healthy diet. So this is the amount of food we produce every year. So another interesting figure in this context is that 2 billion people are overweight or obese, and this is not just a little bit too big or a little bit of too much chocolate. It's really sick. It's really dangerous for your health if you weigh too much, with all the diseases that comes with it. And so also a really strong incidence that it's not the reason that we don't have enough, a reason for the people are being hungry. So now we have here the field I was talking about. So we calculated which crops and in which extent do we plant these crops worldwide. So we calculated it to 1 person or to 2,000 square meters. And here you see, do you also see my mouse? Okay, very good. So here you can see that more than half of the 2,000 square meters is grown with crops like wheat, which is the biggest, corn and rice. So all the cereals make up more than half of the 2,000 square meters. Then followed by the oil plants, which is also palm oil, for example, or coconuts. Also soybeans are mainly planted for their oil. And then cotton is followed, which is also interestingly considered as an oil plant because it has a seed where oil is produced from. And then only the tubers come, and all the vegetables and all the other plants you might consider as typical crops. What we also teach on our fields is that it's really important how you manage your farmland. So you can have on one hand the very energy intensive industrialized agriculture with big monocultures, only a few crop varieties, a lot of pesticides and mineralized fertilizers, which itself use a lot of energy while they are produced, and the big machines, of course, as well. So yeah, this picture is maybe a bit harsh, but yeah, it gives an impression what happens in the soil, which is a main topic of our project. It's very important to keep the soil fertile, to keep the animals, not only the big ones like here with the mouse and the what's the name? Yeah, doesn't matter. The mole, for example, and even the earthworm, but the main important animals are the microbes and the fungi and the bacteria that really keep the soil healthy. And if you use pesticides or fertilizer, even if they are said they are bee friendly and they are friendly to insects, they might have a big impact on microbes and change the soil significantly. It's much better to have a small scale farm with a lot of varieties, spaces for animals, and this might be even less energy intense. And in this picture, I also like to mention that most of the people are fed by small scale farms and not by the industrial agriculture, although the area they manage, the small scale farmers, is only 20%. They feed 70% of the people. Oh, I'm sorry. And especially we in Germany, or in the rich countries in on the northern hemisphere, we have a decision, and we can decide what kind of food we consume, where it comes from, and how it is produced. And this makes a difference. and it influences also the living conditions of the people that live near these fields and all the animals that live on the fields. We in Germany, we don't, 2,000 square meters is not enough. We need much more. This is an example of the European average person. They need 2,700 square meters. And I'm not sure if this figure is really accurate, as it looks like that 700 square meters are imported from other countries. I think it's even more. I think it's more like 2/3 of the land we use is not in Germany or in Europe. Most of it is imported, especially if we consider all the soybeans we use for our pig production or meat production. I heard a figure that only the soy, the area of soy is as big as Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, which is a part of Germany. So it's maybe only for the meat production of Germany. So it's much, much bigger than this here. And I also heard a figure in Austria that they import like 2/3 of their land. So all the food we eat, which is produced on farmland, is not the food we produce here in Germany, especially for vegetables. It's not true. And of course, the exotic things. So every bite has a place. So we also want to make the connection more visible, where the food is coming from, that people just don't consume without thinking about where it comes from. It comes from either somewhere around on the other side of the world, and it also comes from people that produced it. So this is what we show on the 2,000 square meters in Pankow. That's in the botanical garden. We are very lucky that this is a beautiful garden where a lot of people just use it to have a picnic or to walk around on the weekends. And so they also come to our field and have a look. So this is a picture how it could look like, but I also show you how it really looks like. This is the field in autumn, so more or less right now. And it's public. You can go there every day from sunrise to sunset. And there is also, there are signs for agriculture and every crop and information posts. So you can go there alone or you can book a tour. So this is in spring last year, where we could make a lot of events. This year, of course, we don't have that many events or very small ones. And we offer guided tours and workshops. We cook meals and we have expert talks. And so we want to provide knowledge, but also fun for the tall and the small. Our topics is soil fertility and humus production, one of our main topics, also in consideration to climate change, seed diversity, of course, but you can also have a look at the botany and the care of cultivated plants, and maybe also some exotic plants like cotton or different millets. The topic agriculture and climate change is a main topic this year and also next year. So we want to show and to explain and to teach that soil has a high potential to help us against the ongoing climate change, or at least to slow it down a bit, as it is a very important carbon sink. Then I would like to explain one concept, the area buffet or the square meter meal. If you have a better translation, just tell me. It's the small beds. So if you don't have 2,000 square meters to plant, you might have 2 square meters or 3 square meters, and you could plant a pizza margarita with the cheese or a pizza with sausage. The idea is to show how much space you need for one meal. So we planted all the ingredients you need for one portion, for one plate of different meals in one bed. And here we have the pizza with salami slices. So what do you need for a pizza? It's for the bread, for the bottom, you need flour to make the dough. This is the wheat you would need. You need maybe a tomato to put some sauce on on your bread. And here's a basil, I think, probably some onions, and then you would have a nice vegetarian pizza. But if you would like to have some slices of salami, you need more than double the space to plant all the food for the pig. You would need to feed to get some slices of salami. If you have plant more than one, and you can compare always the vegetable variation and the one with the meat. It's very interesting for children, and you can do a lot of nice games and learning exercises with this. What do you think? How much is one steak with potatoes? What do you think? How much space you would need? For the pizza, for example, you would need 1.2, 1.3 square meters with the salami. And for a steak and French fries, for example, how much space do you need? What do you think? Kai, do you have an idea?
For steak, I'd say, well, it's hard to imagine. I would say at least like the ground floor of like a big building or something.
Oh, no, it's not that much.
No? Okay.
It's about 2.5 square meters for a steak with French fries. And if you calculate the 2,000 square meters by all the days of the year, you would have more or less 5.5 square meters per day. So this is the area you should keep per day for all your food and everything you need. And so you could eat nearly twice steaks with twice portions of steak with French fries. So it's quite a lot actually. And if you compare it to a porridge with berries, for example, it's only 0.4, 0.5 square meters per person for the breakfast, for example. And if you like to try it yourself, we have a website. It's called mysquaremeter.de. I think it would also work if you don't speak German, because there are quite a lot of pictures in it. I can show you right now. I scratched video on my screen. So this is the calculator. You see the website with the plate? Okay. So you can choose here between several dishes. So you can have the hamburger with French fries. And if you click on it, you get all the ingredients and the square meters each ingredient need. And here, I think this is especially interesting. If you look here, you get all the ingredient for the hamburger patty. And if you want to know what's in my beef, you can have a closer look. You have the plain beef, and this is all the food that is planted for the meat. So it's a long list of ingredients the animals get as fodder. So, and
Virginia, can I throw in a question real quick?
Sure, sure.
As far as I know, some plants conflict with one another. So is this calculator only for fun, or is it like really that you can plant all of these things next to one another without them conflicting?
No, you cannot use it as a plant organ or a gardening organizer, because it just adds up the ingredients you need for each dish. And you would know how many you would have to plant for this. But this is the global average. So it's not even the area it would need in Germany. Sometimes it's very different, the global average and the German average. For example, for potatoes. Yeah. Potatoes, I get much more in Germany than in global average. No, you cannot use it as a gardening planner. So it's more or less for fun and to check different ingredients in your dishes. For example, if you go on 2000 again, I come to the first page, you can put also your own recipes. So you have an empty plate, and then you can add whatever ingredients you would like to have. Now you can put your pizza with apricots or whatever you like. And I think it would work also for non-German speaking people if you like. So that's why I show it. So this is more for children to be aware what makes the difference if I use especially animal products, or if I'm veggie based. So this is usually the main difference. But here I also have to say this is not a sustainable food which you can calculate here. We just consider the area, which is a very important factor to look at sustainability and sustainable consumption, but not the only one. Of course, you also have to consider how much water you would need to produce the food, and carbon dioxide whenever you plant it and eat it, and how much you have to transport it and all these things. So this is just the area. Okay, so I would be done with my presentation, and yeah, I'm open to answer all your questions. Greetings from our team. Yeah.
So do you have a fixed team, or does anyone can anyone come and join you?
We have a core team, I would say. So we are like, I think, 4 people working permanently since many years, and mainly for the project. So it's me, as I'm doing the education, I'm the education coordinator, so doing all the workshops, or most of the workshops. We have a person that is only responsible for all the volunteers and the staff. So we have like 10 to 20 persons that support us during the season on the field, but also on markets or exhibitions, and that give information. And we have a gardener that is only responsible for gardening the plants. And our project manager is doing a lot of other things. So I think this is the core team, but of course we rely on volunteers mainly, so interns and volunteers. Yeah.
Okay, I must have missed it, but where does the food that you grow go?
Usually we harvest it and cook it on our meal, on our festivals and workshops. Or we just give it away to the people that come to the field or to the volunteers. So yeah, most of the things are harvested, but not everything, because some of the plants we just leave because it's a present, it's an exhibition and not a real food production business. So some of the things we just leave to show, and then we cannot use it anymore. Then it goes to the compost, so it's not wasted. And a lot of things we keep for seed production, so we give away the seeds to our guests.
Thanks.
Also, I have a question. how it works in a botanical garden. Is it some special area in a botanical garden? Is it open for visitors, or it has its own fence or something like it?
Yeah, the botanical garden itself is always open. It has the fence around, but the door is always open. And you could go in the night, but it says on the opening times from sunset to sundown. And our field is just in the park, so it's open also to everybody. So you can go there anytime. And it's a bit on the boundary of the park, so it's not right in the middle, because it's a park that is it's a historical site, and so they don't want us in the middle. So we are a bit on the boundary, but yeah, still.
If I can, I have also another interesting question for us. Maybe it is about the climate. What is your working season? How long your holidays turn? Because in Ukraine, maybe we have agricultural season, maybe from April till September, or sometimes till October. And what is about Berlin?
Yeah. So we consider our season also from May to end of October. So this is the season where we promote to give school tours and workshops. But of course, the field is there all year round. So we are working also at least from November, and probably in December, February, January, we have a bit kind of a break, or more like office hours. Where we have to write all the reports and get more funding, and yeah.
Another question, if nobody wants to ask, it is I'm interested in what are you doing with an open soil without plants? Do you use some siderates from autumn till spring, and what you can recommend us to do for increase the potential of soil during the holidays, winter holidays?
Yes, we never leave the soil open, so usually we don't have any soil that is not covered. Either we cover it with grass, cutted grass or leaves, or any mulching. So we do mulching, or we plant things for the winter, like mustache or clover. Yeah, that's something we always do. Yeah, during summer and winter. One picture, it's maybe more clear. This one. We do some mixed cultures. We do the mulching, and of course we have social aspects in our project, but we cannot be very progressive in permaculture, in the permacultural design, because somehow we need these straight lines and the one crop growing on a certain patch, so that the people can imagine how big these areas are, and that they get this impression and this feeling, oh, there's a lot of corn growing on our fields, oh, there's so much soybeans growing on our on the farmland, which is very useful, and it's so much just for animals. So if it would be permaculture, it would be not that these squares, and it would be maybe
I understand.
A different design. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for answer. But I can see that there is some kind of combination of plants on in this place. Okay, and I think it's still very close to permaculture, at least much closer than traditional way of agriculture.
Yes, I think we try our best to make it as diverse as possible, and still has this impression of these sizes. these areas. One thing is, which you might probably all know, is the Three Sisters mixed culture, or the milpa we show. And this year we had a very special milpa. It's the combination of corn, pumpkin, and bean. And this year we worked together with the Mexican plant collective. So these were people from Mexico and from Germany working together to celebrate the Mexican culture in terms of food, but also in terms of planting. And they had quite very interesting varieties of corn and pumpkin, like old varieties from Mexico. It was really like a jungle, our cornfield this year. This was really, really beautiful. And they also had like certain celebrations in the beginning of the year to honor the maize god, and they had some ceremonies, and I think this was really, really nice. And this was also with the social and the ecological aspect of the corn and the historical dimension. It was a very nice permaculture project in my eyes, because it was really with nature and with the people. Yeah, it was really nice. So of course these we also have like flower stripes for the bees, and yeah, we don't use pesticides and we don't use artificial fertilizer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answer. That sounds cool, and I do hope we will make at least a small part of your decision here in Chernihiv. Because we also want to make some kind of garden in the yard of youth center. And we are working on that now, but we don't have we don't have a lot of place, and we have to learn a lot to make something like you did.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Virginia, you were mentioning in the beginning that you're also doing some political lobby work. Can you elaborate a little bit about this? Because that's what was actually the decision to choose like Weltacker for a project of urban farming, which is of course like using kind of city space for urban farming. And I can imagine it's kind of hard also to like use the land. It's actually like in an urban area. That's why, could you elaborate a little bit more on your political lobby work that you're doing?
Yeah, right now we are very busy with the campaign on gene drives. This is a special, I'm not the expert with this, but this is one of our projects. We are quite busy right now. It's about the new genetic techniques that aim to be very precise. And the aim of gene drives is to make like pests go away, for example, like rodents on islands, or the Anopheles mosquito that transmit malaria. The idea is to bring an animal, a mosquito, for example, into the wild to make the Anopheles make extinct. And I think this is very, very dangerous, because you never know what happens if a mosquito gets extinct. We usually are not aware of all the complex ecosystem functions, and I think it's just too dangerous just to put something like this into the wild. And this is something, we also have a petition, a European petition to stop these, to stop the release into the wild. We have to discuss it much more, and we have to put more research in it, and have to discuss it also in ethical terms. And so you can have a look on our website. Save Our Seeds is the main website where all the different projects are. You can have a look at this. I think there's also quite a lot of English information. Another project is the Farmers and Bee campaign. It's an initiative that aims to make the European agriculture more bee-friendly, which means no pesticides and no artificial fertilizers, but also to give subsidies to farm practices that are more environment friendly and not just considering the area with what is right now. And right now we are discussing the next European agricultural reform and how to spend the money for farmers and how to help them. And right now it looks like that all these subsidies are not used in a way that the climate change goals can be met. And this is something that is very, it's just right now, I think next week or the week after, the decisions will be made in Brussels. So this is very important that you have a look into it and maybe write to your representative and make them aware that now we can set a lot of things for the next 7 to 10 years. So the main things, the main projects we have are mainly about GMOs. There are quite a lot of projects on GMOs, but also on European agricultural politics.
Sorry, I have a question. When you answered to the question of Kai, you told about mosquitoes. I didn't fully understand are the mosquitoes on the edge of extinction in Germany, so they have to be protected, or you just told that we don't have to kill them all?
Yeah, the idea, it's one example for the use of gene drives is to set it free amongst the Anopheles mosquito, which is in Africa mainly, not in Germany, and causes malaria. This is a project of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They want to get rid of malaria, and they want to help the people not get sick or even die from malaria. And the idea is to set a mosquito free that mates with the wild mosquito, and then all the offspring of these mosquitoes are male. So they can only get male offspring. So this would mean if at the end if all the mosquitoes are male, they cannot reproduce anymore and they would go extinct.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, and that's that's what they want to do. And of course,
I think this is a very important job because as I know from entomology lessons, if mosquitoes disappears, it's gonna be a big problem because water ecosystem can be destroyed, fully destroyed in areas where mosquitoes disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is very important, and this is very bad idea to kill any species on the earth,
Mm-hmm.
because they are all parts of ecosystem, and they must live, even mosquitoes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we don't see them, but we will definitely see results of its extinction.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm happy that you know it, but a lot of people don't know this, and they might think, oh, why do we need mosquitoes? They are just nasty.
Yeah, this is popular problem about all insects in general, not just mosquitoes. And about our life in general, the most important things are invisible for simple people.
Yeah, true. Mhm. Yeah, so tell everybody about the Gene Drives moratorium in our campaign.
So, Virginia, I want to say a lot of thanks to you. It was very, very inspired and very interesting for us to listen about such a nice project.